We said that threats are anything or events that take advantage or exploit a vulnerability to be able to harm our environment. Today, we want to discuss what are some of the most common cybersecurity threats that organization and individual face. Now, understanding these threats is very crucial for implementing an effective security measures and protecting sensitive information. We want to start with social engineering. What is social engineering? Social engineering is just the manipulation tactics that is being used by hackers and cyber criminals to trick you and I into divulging confidential information or performing actions that compromise security. So when you check, you realize that you go to social media and you see them sending all sort of information out. By the time you realize, you have clicked on a link, leads you somewhere, taking information from you, and they are using the information to do other things. Some type of social engineering I want us to first look at, we call them phishing and spam. I'm sure you've heard a lot about phishing, but phishing is a type of social engineering attack where attackers impersonate legitimate entities to receive users into providing sensitive information such as login credentials or financial data. So you see that you go to a website and the website looks the same as the original website. www.paypal.com, you see them doing, let's say, www.powpay.com. So they just change words. And you see that when it comes to phishing, you see that the words in the email are grammatically poor and grammatically they are wrong. They are not writing them well. They are spelling mistakes. And those are some of the characteristics of phishing emails. And you can also talk about spam. Spam refers to unsolicited or often malicious emails that are being sent in bulk to a large number of people. Both phishing and spam are used to distribute malware or steal personal information. So by the time you realize, if you have any spam, if you check your spam, I'm sure all of us, you and I, when you check your spam, you could see that there's a lot of emails that are in your spam, and you see the structure of how they cap those emails. All they are leading you to do is to install a software. They'll be able to use it to steal your information, or they will lead you to a website where you're going to talk about things that you are not supposed to. Now let's go to the denial of service. The common name that we call is the DDoS attack. What is a DDoS attack? A DDoS attack involves flooding a targeted system, network, or service with an overwhelming amount of traffic to disrupt its normal functioning. You realize that there could be a time where you go to a website and you cannot even log in. What they have done is that they are being under attack by DDoS. What they can do is that they flood a specific system with a lot of people on the system, and because they are doing that, they are not able to track all the people and protect themselves from all the people that are doing. Then in their quest of doing that, they will insert a malware or a software to be able to attack them. Now, attackers typically use a network of compromised devices to launch coordinated attacks. Now, DDoS attack can lead to service downtime, financial losses, reputational damages. Recently, these are some of the attacks that they use when they took over Alphabet, that is Google.com. If you heard about that attack on Google, that you see that there will be a downtime. They will say that Teams is not accessible. You can't go to your Instagram or your Facebook because some of these attacks are going on. The next attack we want to talk about, we call it the man-in-the-middle attack. What is a man-in-the-middle attack? The man-in-the-middle attack is an attack where an attacker will intercept the communication between two parties without their knowledge. Now, the attacker can eavesdrop on the conversation, manipulate or alter the data, or exchange or impersonate one or both parties. What are you thinking about? Confidentiality is being compromised. Integrity is being compromised. So man-in-the-middle attacks are often used to steal sensitive information such as login credentials or financial data. What are they using your login for? Your login so that they'll be able to communicate with other people, communicate with your colleagues that you are working with without your knowledge. And by the time you realize, they are using those information to be able to even cause damage or be able to use it to be able to destroy a company's reputation. Malware. Malware is a short form of malicious software. This refers to any software that is being designed to disrupt, to damage or gain unauthorized access to computer systems or network. As the name comes, you see there are so many examples of malware. One of the examples I can give is viruses. There are worms, we have Trojans, we have ransomware, we have spyware, we have adware, and all of these, the main goal of what they are doing is that they are going to come in, infiltrate your system, find out, make sure that your system is all working properly, get you to install a software, or they could even come into your system. The spyware will come into your system, be in your system for years without you knowing, and they are tracking and recording everything that you are doing. Ransomware will come into your environment. Now they'll hold you hostage and say, okay, give us this amount of money before we actually leave your environment. And the Trojan, if you remember the story of the Trojan horse, they disguise themselves, use other means to get into your environment. When they come in, that is where they start to explode and be able to do some all these things. Then the hardware use advertisements to be able to come into your environment. Worms. Worms are self-replicating malwares that spread across network by exploiting vulnerabilities in operating systems or applications. Unlike the viruses, worms do not require a host program to propagate and can spread independently. So when it comes to a worm, it can operate by itself. Viruses don't do that. Viruses will have to be spread around by installing the software, but worm does not do that, because worm can cause widespread damage by consuming network bandwidth, disrupting the services that is going on. Virus is also a type of a malware that attaches itself to executable files. So you can download a file from the internet. Those of us who like to download files from the internet that are not safe, you install this file. All that you see is that they are replicating themselves. Viruses can modify or delete files, corrupt the data that you have. They often spread through affected email attachments. So if there are email attachments coming through, you need to be able to make sure you are taking care of that and you are making sure that they are safe before you install them into your environment. Then the Trojan horse, they disguise themselves as a legitimate software just to trick users in executing it. As soon as you execute it, hey, they take over your environment. Then they can perform all sorts of malicious actions, stealing your information, creating backdoors for remote access. And by the time you realize your system is open, let me tell you a quick story about a friend of mine who called me from Germany a couple of months ago, and he was telling me that, hey, he saw that someone was accessing his system when he was praying at night. I'm like, really? Why? So I started to find out, do you have TeamViewer? Do you have this? But they checked and said that he didn't have any of those. So later then he came to tell me that, oh, he has recognized it and that they use the back door. But the back door, how did the person get into the environment? What the person have done is that they use one of these hardwares. It was a software he installed, and because of that software, they had access. What the person have done is that the person have been in the system for a while. Whenever he owns his laptop, the person will be able to take over, do a couple of things, whatever they want to. He says he's always going to Amazon to try to do purchases, and I could imagine what kind of person that person is. But I'm just using that as an example to let you know how the Trojan horse, so they disguise themselves, get into your environment, and by the time you realize, they have taken over. Cybersecurity threats continue to evolve. Attackers are finding ways that they can always find new ways to exploit vulnerabilities to harm their environments. It's essential that you and I help to keep our organizations safe. It's essential that we stay vigilant. We need to be able to implement best practices and educate ourselves on the latest threats and techniques. By understanding common cybersecurity threats and taking proactive measures to mitigate risks, we can better protect our digital assets. These are some of the threats. One thing that I want to leave with you before you go, always make sure that you are always changing your password, whether it's annually or whether it's every 3 years, make sure. And whenever you are changing your password, please, if you have 7-character passwords, change them. Go into 15-character password. Look for a whole sentence as your password, because it helps you to protect yourself, protect your environment, and protect the people around you, because the very moment that your system is being hacked, it affects everyone about you. Catch you in the next class.